Picture this. You're watching The Hilarious House of Frightenstein, a show filled with vampires, werewolves, explosions, and absolute chaos. And suddenly, there's a segment where a kind veterinarian gently holds a puppy and teaches you how to properly care for it. Real educational content, genuine animal care advice, delivered with warmth and sincerity. And then at the end, he tries to give the puppy away. A voice from the basement screams, "No pets!" and Igor bursts into tears. That was Dr. Pet Vet, the most sincere educational character on the weirdest kids show ever made. And somehow, it worked perfectly. Today, we're celebrating Dr. Pet Vet and why he mattered. Let's go. Dr. Pet Vet was one of the many characters played by Billy Van on The Hilarious House of Frightenstein, the cult classic Canadian children's show from the early 1970s. But unlike most of Billy Van's other characters, the bumbling count, the dramatic librarian, the unreliable oracle, Dr. Pet Vet was different. He was genuine. He was sincere. He was actually trying to help. Dr. Pet Vet appeared in recurring segments where he'd present a real, live animal, a puppy, a kitten, a turtle, a duck, and teach kids how to properly care for it, what they eat, how much space they need, how to handle them gently. This was real educational content in the middle of a show that was otherwise pure chaos. And that contrast was brilliant. While the rest of Frightenstein was campy horror comedy, Dr. Pet Vet's segments were straightforward pet care education. He was a dedicated animal lover, sharing his knowledge with kids. His signature catchphrase? Pets are friends. Simple, sincere, and it stuck with an entire generation of Canadian kids. Here's how a typical Dr. Pet Vet segment worked. Dr. Pet Vet would appear with a real animal, let's say a kitten. He'd hold it gently, speak calmly, and explain everything a kid needed to know about caring for a cat. Kittens need fresh water every day. They need a clean litter box. They need toys to play with and soft places to sleep. And most importantly, they need love and attention. Because pets are friends. It was educational television at its best, clear, informative, and delivered with genuine warmth. But here's where the Frightenstein magic came in. At the end of the segment, Dr. Pet Vet would turn to Igor, the lovable giant assistant played by Fishka Rice, and offer him the animal. "Would you like to take care of this kitten, Igor?" Igor's face would light up. Finally, a pet. He'd reach for the animal excitedly, and then, from somewhere deep in the castle basement, a booming voice would scream, "No pets!" That was the Sloth, the giant multi-armed puppet that lived in the basement. The Sloth apparently had authority over what happened in the castle, and the Sloth did not allow pets. Igor would burst into tears, loud, heartbroken sobbing. The segment would end, and Dr. Pet Vet would be left holding the animal, looking disappointed but understanding. This happened every single time. So why did this formula work so well? First, the contrast. The Hilarious House of Frightenstein was chaos. Vampires failing at science experiments, librarians reading children's stories like horror novels. Everything was absurd and over the top. And then there was Dr. Pet Vet, calm, sincere, educational. He was the one genuinely normal person in the entire castle. That contrast made both elements stronger. The chaos felt more chaotic because Dr. Pet Vet was so grounded, and Dr. Pet Vet's sincerity felt more meaningful because it stood out against all the madness. Second, the emotional payoff. Kids watching genuinely learned about animal care. Dr. Pet Vet didn't talk down to them. He treated them like responsible people, capable of understanding how to care for living creatures. And then, the no pets moment created genuine emotional stakes. You felt bad for Igor. You felt bad for the animal that couldn't find a home. You felt the disappointment, but it was funny too. The absurdity of a booming voice from the basement having veto power over pet ownership in a castle full of monsters. Third, pets are friends was more than just a catchphrase. It was a philosophy. Dr. Pet Vet wasn't teaching kids to see animals as possessions or toys. He was teaching empathy, responsibility, and kindness. That message, delivered sincerely by a character who genuinely cared, had real impact. Let's talk about what made Dr. Pet Vet's segments actually valuable beyond just entertainment. In the 1970s, educational children's television was booming. Shows like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood were proving that TV could teach kids important lessons. Dr. Pet Vet fit into that tradition, but with a Frightenstein twist. He taught practical skills: how to hold a kitten without hurting it, what to feed a turtle, how often to clean a birdcage. These were things kids could actually use if they got a pet. He taught responsibility, explaining that pets need daily care, attention, and commitment. That having a pet isn't just fun, it's work. And he taught empathy, showing kids how to recognize what an animal needs, how to read their behavior, how to treat them with kindness. This was genuine education wrapped in the Frightenstein aesthetic. And because it was presented sincerely rather than being parodied, kids actually learned from it. Dr. Pet Vet respected his audience. He didn't dumb things down or make it silly. He just shared his knowledge clearly and kindly. And that respect went both ways. Kids respected Dr. Pet Vet because he treated them like they were capable and smart. So why does Dr. Pet Vet still matter decades later? Because he showed that you could be sincere and educational in the middle of chaos and absurdity, and both could coexist. Modern children's programming tends to be segregated. Educational shows are serious and straightforward. Comedy shows are silly and avoid teaching. Very few shows successfully blend both. The Hilarious House of Frightenstein did, and Dr. Pet Vet was a perfect example of that balance. He also represented something important. Kindness and sincerity aren't boring. You don't have to be ironic or detached to be cool. Dr. Pet Vet was earnest about animal care, and that earnestness made him beloved. Pets are friends is a simple message, but it's one that resonated. An entire generation of Canadian kids grew up learning to see anima. Dr. Pet Vet wasn't the funniest character on the Hilarious House of Frightenstein. He wasn't the most absurd. He wasn't there to make you laugh at how incompetent or silly he was. He was there to teach you how to care for animals, to show you that pets are friends, to be kind, sincere, and genuine in a castle full of chaos. And somehow, that made him one of the most memorable characters on the entire show. So here's to Dr. Pet Vet, the veterinarian who taught a generation of Canadian kids that pets are friends, even when the sloth said no. If you remember Dr. Pet Vet and the Hilarious House of Frightenstein, drop a comment. Do you remember the no pets moment? Did Dr. Pet Vet teach you anything about animal care? What was your favorite Frightenstein character? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Canadian TV nostalgia. We're celebrating the shows that made Canadian childhood special. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.